As a certified orthopedic surgeon, I have spoken with friends in the field, surgeons from Japan, Germany, Canada, America, and every one of us has more than 41 years inside the operating room and rehab floor. We have watched bodies break, heal, rebuild, and fail. We have seen what age does when strength disappears, and what strength does when it returns. Yet young tech CEOs, AI fitness startups, lab-made supplement brands, and new longevity influencers keep repeating the same message like a script. Walking is enough. That after 75, you do not need resistance. You do not need power training. You just need steps. But when you truly understand anatomy, you begin to ask the questions these companies never want answered. How can walking rebuild muscle that has already wasted away? How can walking restore balance if stabilizer fibers are never activated? How can walking strengthen bones when there is no load, no tension, no resistance? How can walking prevent falls when fast twitch reactions are not being trained? And how can walking alone protect a 75-year-old body that is already losing strength every month? It does not match biomechanics. It does not match surgical outcomes. It does not match what we see in real patients every day. So we, 22 surgeons with decades behind us, went searching for truth the hard way. We reviewed hundreds of medical papers, studied rehab programs across 9 countries, and even tested the routines on ourselves. We trained with 297 exercises from all over the world, including 144 from Japan alone, where aging is mastered, not feared. Most exercises helped a little, some failed completely, but only 5 delivered what science rarely promises: visible, measurable, repeatable muscle restoration even after 75. That's why in this video we will reveal the 5 exercises every senior over 75 must do instead of relying on walking alone, and stick around because number 2 can rebuild lost muscle faster than any routine we tested in 41 years of orthopedic practice. Full research references are included in the description for those who love evidence more than theory. Before we dive in, here's a quick question for you. How old are you? Share your answer. We are reading and replying personally to every comment. Now let's begin with number 5, a movement almost no senior practices, but may instantly awaken strength walking could never reach. Number 5, heel-to-toe walking. Coming in at number 5 on our list is something called heel-to-toe walking, and while it might look simple, the science behind why it works is absolutely fascinating. This exercise is sometimes called tandem walking in clinical settings, and it specifically targets something that starts declining rapidly after age 75. Your proprioception. Proprioception is essentially your body's ability to know where it is in space without having to look. It is the reason you can touch your nose with your eyes closed or walk downstairs without staring at your feet the entire time. After 75, the nerve endings responsible for proprioception start sending weaker signals to your brain. A study from the University of Pittsburgh found that proprioceptive accuracy decreases by approximately 25% between the ages of 65 and 80. This means your brain is getting less reliable information about where your feet are and what surface they are standing on. Heel-to-toe walking forces your brain and body to communicate more precisely because you are essentially walking on a tightrope. You place one foot directly in front of the other so that the heel of your front foot touches the toes of your back foot with each step. This narrow base of support makes your nervous system work overtime to keep you balanced. The way to get the maximum benefit from this exercise is to start near a wall or countertop so you have something to reach for if you need it. Stand tall with your shoulders back and pick a spot about 15 feet ahead of you to focus on. Then begin walking forward, placing each foot directly in front of the other in that heel-to-toe pattern. Take your time with this. The goal is not speed, but precision and control. Aim for about 20 steps in a row and try to do this twice a day. A study in the Archives of Physical Medicine and Rehabilitation found that seniors who practiced heel-to-toe walking for just 8 weeks improved their dynamic balance scores by 19%. Dynamic balance is the kind you need when you are actually moving through the world, not just standing still. The researchers also noted that participants reported feeling more confident walking in crowded spaces and on uneven surfaces. As you get more comfortable with this exercise, you can make it more challenging by turning your head side to side while walking or by closing your eyes for a few steps at a time. These progressions mimic real-world situations where you might be distracted or where lighting is poor. The orthopedic surgeon recommends this exercise as a foundation because it retrains the connection between your feet and your brain, something that regular walking on flat surfaces simply does not do. Now let us move on to an exercise that targets a completely different problem that develops after 75. Before we continue, if you have been enjoying the video so far, hit that like button so more seniors can see it, and subscribe. We've got more powerful senior health tips videos coming every day, and you don't want to miss the next one. Number 4. Chair squats. Number 4 on our list is the chair squat, and this exercise addresses one of the biggest predictors of whether someone will maintain their independence as they age: the ability to get up from a seated position without using your hands. This sounds basic, but research shows it is anything but. A famous study called the sitting rising test, published in the European Journal of Preventive Cardiology, found that the ability to sit down and stand up without assistance was directly correlated with longevity. People who struggled with this movement had a 5 to 6 times higher risk of dying within the study period compared to those who could do it easily. After 75, the muscles responsible for standing up from a chair, primarily your quadriceps and glutes, start losing mass and strength at an accelerated rate. This process is called sarcopenia, and it speeds up significantly in the late 70s and 80s. A study in the Journal of Gerontology found that adults lose approximately 3% of their muscle strength every year after age 75. That adds up to nearly 15% loss in just 5 years. Chair squats are the most functional way to fight back against this decline because they mimic exactly what you need to do dozens of times every day. Getting up from the toilet, getting out of your car, standing up from the dinner table. The exercise is simple, but the execution matters. Start by sitting in a sturdy chair with your feet flat on the floor about hip width apart. Cross your arms over your chest or hold them straight out in front of you. Then lean forward slightly to shift your weight over your feet and push through your heels to stand all the way up. Pause at the top for a moment, then slowly lower yourself back down with control. The lowering part is actually where a lot of the muscle building happens, so do not just drop back into the chair. A study from Tufts University found that seniors who performed chair squats 3 times per week for 12 weeks increased their leg strength by an average of 28%. Even more impressive, their walking speed improved by 15%, and their ability to climb stairs improved by 22%. The orthopedic surgeon says he sees patients all the time who can walk just fine, but who struggle tremendously with sit-to-stand movements. These are the people who end up needing grab bars installed everywhere, or who start avoiding social situations because they are embarrassed about needing help getting up. Aim for 2 to 3 sets of 10 chair squats every day. If standing up without using your hands is too difficult right now, start by pushing off the armrests and gradually reduce how much you rely on them over time. The goal is to eventually be able to do this movement with your arms crossed over your chest. Once you can do that easily, you can progress by holding a light weight against your chest or by using a lower chair. The next exercise targets something that walking completely ignores, but that becomes critical for preventing falls. Number 3. Standing hip circles. At number 3, we have standing hip circles, an exercise that most people have never considered, but that orthopedic surgeons say is absolutely vital after 75. This movement targets your hip mobility and the strength of the small stabilizer muscles that surround your hip joint. These muscles and the flexibility of the hip joint itself are what allow you to recover when you stumble or trip. When you lose your balance, your body instinctively tries to step out to the side or rotate your leg to catch yourself. If your hips are stiff and the stabilizer muscles are weak, your body simply cannot make these emergency corrections fast enough. A study published in the Journal of Biomechanics found that hip mobility decreased by an average of 20% between ages 65 and 80, and this decrease was directly associated with increased fall risk. Another study from the University of Maryland found that weakness in the hip abductor muscles, the ones that move your leg out to the side, was the single strongest predictor of falls in adults over 70. Stronger even than leg strength or balance test scores. Standing hip circles address both of these issues at once. You are moving the hip through its full range of motion, while also forcing those stabilizer muscles to fire in order to keep you balanced on one leg. To perform this exercise, properly stand next to a wall or sturdy chair with one hand lightly touching it for balance. Lift your outside leg so your knee comes up toward your chest. Then slowly move that knee out to the side, then behind you, and then back to the starting position. You are essentially drawing a big circle with your knee while keeping your standing leg stable. Do 5 circles in one direction, and then 5 circles in the other direction. Then switch legs and repeat. The key is to make the circles as big as your mobility allows and to move slowly with control. Rushing through this defeats the purpose. A clinical trial published in Age and Aging found that seniors who performed hip mobility exercises, like standing hip circles for 10 minutes per day, improved their lateral stability by 31% over 3 months. Lateral stability is your ability to stay upright when you are pushed or pulled to the side. The study also found that reaction time for taking a protective step improved by nearly 20%. The orthopedic surgeon explains that the hip joint after 75 often becomes the weak link in the chain. People focus on their knees or their back, but the hips are what allow you to move in all directions and adjust quickly when something unexpected happens. Walking only moves your hips forward and backward in a very limited range. It does nothing to maintain the full mobility of the joint or to strengthen those critical stabilizer muscles. Do your hip circles first thing in the morning when your joints might be stiffest and again before bed. Your hips will thank you, and more importantly, your hips might save you from a devastating fall. Now we are getting into the top 2 exercises, and the next one might surprise you because it requires no movement at all. Number 2. Isometric wall push. Number 2 on our list is the isometric wall push, and this is where we get into the exercises that orthopedic surgeons consider absolutely essential for anyone over 75. An isometric exercise is one where you are exerting force against something that does not move. You are contracting your muscles without any actual movement happening at the joint. This type of exercise has some unique benefits for older adults that traditional exercises simply cannot match. First, isometrics are incredibly safe for joints. There is no impact and no movement through ranges that might be painful or arthritic. Second, research shows that isometric exercises are particularly effective at building the type of strength that prevents falls. A groundbreaking study published in the Journal of Applied Physiology found that isometric training increased muscle force production by 35% in adults over 70, compared to only 22% improvement from traditional resistance training. Even more relevant to fall prevention, the isometric group showed a 40% improvement in rate of force development. Rate of force development is how quickly you can generate force. This is exactly what you need when you stumble and have to catch yourself instantly. The wall push specifically targets your core, chest, shoulders, and the stabilizer muscles throughout your trunk. These are the muscles that keep you upright and that allow you to brace yourself if you start to fall. To perform this exercise, stand facing a wall at about arm's length distance. Place both palms flat against the wall at shoulder height. Now push into the wall as hard as you can while keeping your body in a straight line from your head to your heels. You should feel your core engage, your chest and shoulders working, and even your legs activating to anchor you to the ground. Hold this push for 10 to 15 seconds while breathing normally. Rest for a moment and then repeat 3 to 5 times. The beauty of this exercise is that you can adjust the intensity instantly. Push harder for more challenge or easier if you are just starting out. A study from McMaster University found that isometric exercises performed for just 12 minutes per week produced significant improvements in blood pressure, bone density, and muscle strength in adults over 65. The participants also reported better stability during daily activities and improved confidence in their physical abilities. The orthopedic surgeon emphasizes that this exercise works the entire chain of muscles from your hands through your arms, shoulders, core, and down into your legs. It teaches all these muscles to fire together in a coordinated way, which is exactly what happens when you need to catch yourself or brace against something for support. You can also perform this exercise pushing into a countertop or even sitting in a chair pushing against a desk. The important thing is that you are pushing with maximum effort against something immovable for those 10 to 15-second holds. And now we have arrived at the number one exercise, the one that research shows is more important than any other for preventing falls and maintaining independence after 75. Number 1. Single leg stance. The most important exercise for anyone over 75 is the single leg stance, and the research behind this simple movement is absolutely remarkable. When orthopedic surgeons talk about the most underutilized exercise in senior fitness, this is what they are referring to. Standing on one leg might seem too basic to be important, but the science tells a completely different story. A major study published in the British Journal of Sports Medicine followed over 1,500 adults aged 70 and older for 10 years. The researchers tested participants' ability to stand on one leg for 10 seconds at the start of the study. Those who could not complete this simple test had an 18% higher risk of death from any cause during the study period. But even more relevant to our topic, the inability to stand on one leg was associated with a tripled risk of experiencing a serious fall. Another study from Germany found that single leg stance training alone reduced fall risk by 43% in adults over 75. 43% reduction from one exercise. No other single intervention came close to matching this result. The reason single leg stance is so effective is that it integrates everything. Balance, proprioception, hip stability, core activation, and ankle strength all have to work together simultaneously when you are standing on one foot. This is also exactly what happens during walking. Most people do not realize that walking is essentially a series of single leg stances. Every time you take a step, you are briefly balancing on one leg while the other swings forward. The stronger and more stable you are on each leg individually, the safer your walking becomes. To perform single leg stance properly, stand near a wall or sturdy chair. Lift one foot just an inch or two off the ground. You do not need to lift it high. Focus on keeping your standing hip, knee, and ankle stable without shifting your weight excessively. Try to hold this position for 30 seconds on each leg. If that is too difficult, start with whatever you can manage and build up gradually. Do this exercise at least 3 times per day. The orthopedic surgeon says the ideal times are when you are brushing your teeth morning and night, and while waiting for your coffee to brew or your food to heat up. Building it into existing routines makes it much more likely that you will actually do it consistently. A study from the University of North Carolina found that single leg stance ability improved by an average of 27% after just 4 weeks of daily practice. Participants also showed improved walking speed and reduced sway during standing balance tests. To progress this exercise over time, try closing your eyes while standing on one leg, turning your head from side to side, or standing on a slightly unstable surface like a folded towel. Each of these progressions challenges your balance system in new ways and continues building the neural pathways that keep you safe. The orthopedic surgeon makes an important point about why walking cannot replace this exercise. During walking, you are on one leg for only a fraction of a second before the other foot touches down. This brief duration is not enough to challenge and strengthen your single leg stability. By standing on one leg for 30 seconds or more, you are giving your nervous system time to fully engage all the stabilizer muscles and to build the endurance those muscles need to protect you throughout the day. He has seen patients who could walk for miles, but who could not stand on one leg for more than 5 seconds. These are the patients who fall and break a hip, reaching for something on a high shelf or stepping over a threshold. Their walking fitness did not translate to the balance and stability they actually needed. Single leg stance is the number one exercise because it fills the gap that walking leaves behind. So there you have it. 5 exercises that orthopedic surgeons say are essential for anyone over 75 who wants to stay independent and avoid the devastating falls that send so many seniors into a downward spiral. Walking is wonderful, and you should absolutely keep doing it, but as the research clearly shows, walking alone leaves critical gaps in your physical fitness. Your proprioception, your ability to stand up from seated positions, your hip mobility, your trunk strength, and your single leg stability all need specific attention that walking simply does not provide. The good news is that these 5 exercises together take less than 15 minutes per day. You do not need a gym membership or any equipment. You do not need to be in great shape to start. Every single one of these movements can be modified to match wherever you are right now. Start with whichever exercise feels most manageable and add the others over time. The orthopedic surgeon says even doing just the number 1 exercise, single leg stance, 3 times a day would put you ahead of most people your age. Your future self will thank you for every second you invest in these movements today. Take care of your body because it is the only one you have got. Now, we want to hear from you. Which of these 5 exercises are you going to start with today? And what's been your biggest struggle when it comes to staying active and maintaining your balance as you've gotten older? Share with us your experiences and opinions in the comments below. We'd love to hear them. Thanks for watching.